so fun.
Oh my God, this is like completely impromptu amazingness.
I know, like, I thought, I'm going to see if she just wants to go. I had a cancellation at 3:00, so this is perfect. I was doing 5 to 10 interviews a day.
What?
Yeah, I have a comedy OCD. I got to make up for lost time, and I had to stop pushing myself so hard.
I understand and feel you on that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Facebook people, we're doing our Sally Jesse Raphael imitations, personations, whatever you want to call it. Come on in, have a seat, welcome. I want to welcome all of Kezia Norton's friends and family and fans, and even some stalkers. We're not going to lie. You get them. Today we have the amazing Kezia Norton, and I want to tell you, I am so stoked to have her on. And I know it's weird to hear the word stoked from a geriatric. Just go with it. But let me read you the intro that she sent me, and I quote, Kezia is a stand-up comic who's performed in clubs all over LA and New York City. Now she started her own Zoom comedy show called Friday Nite Funnies. Yeah, it's on YouTube with that name too. But back to her intro. And it's a huge hit. Friday Nite Funnies is a huge hit. It features different upcoming and well-established comics every Friday. So welcome to Comic Spot, Kezia Norton. Woo! Hi.
Hi, Linda. Thank you so much for having me. I just love your red glasses, and I had to wear mine too.
We can take them off now.
Yeah, I know.
What's going on? You're in LA.
Yes, I'm living kind of in Toluca Lake area, and it's just been really beautiful. Yesterday was stellar. I actually had to take a little 2-hour mental health check and run to the beach quickly.
Yes.
I think that's really important in COVID right now. I mean, it's important in life, but especially right now. So it was just it was just stellar at the beach. And I'm holding on to that because today has been a very indoor Zoom related day. So it's in my pocket, the beach.
Nice. I wanted to go to the mall today, but I'm booked solid. So I went for a little walk and pretended I was walking at the mall.
Oh, that's fun. And window gazing.
Yeah, I just pictured the mall, and then I had the mall.
There you go. Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
Do you like shopping?
I so love shopping. I have a sister that loves it more than me, and she does everything better than me except for telling jokes.
Oh my God. Well, you know what? That's really good. That's a good thing.
Yeah. It's just hard getting her to support my comedy career because, it's the thing she's used to doing everything better. So it's probably kind of hard.
Yeah. I understand.
Yeah.
I have brothers, and they're really great at everything they do.
Yeah.
I'm really good at therapy. I go to a lot of therapy. So I think I get an A++ for therapy.
I never went to therapy until a drunk driver hit me in 1996. And now I go to therapy all the time. I'm healed.
Oh my God. Well, thank goodness you're alive.
Yes. Yes.
That's horrific.
Yeah. It's not the funnest thing to talk about, but I'm going to find a way to make people die laughing with it. One of these days, when you hear me on Netflix with my brain injury bit, you'll go, I knew her. I knew her before this.
Yeah. Well, you'll find it. You'll find there, like Joan Rivers always says, there's always pain or funny in the pain. That's what all comics say. And yeah.
Let's get into your life, my dear Kezia.
Okay.
How'd you get the name Kezia?
Good question. Okay. So my mom had 3 names that she was thinking of naming me if I was a girl. and she couldn't make up her mind. And it was between Kira, Sasha, or Kezia. And the story has it that the anesthesiologist, during the time that she gave birth to me, that's back in the day when they did use anesthesia for birthing, his daughter was named Kezia, and my mom happened to love that name, and she's the complete opposite of me. She was tall and musically inclined. I think she played an instrument, and just the opposite. I don't play an instrument. I have like a damaged voice, a kind of loud and completely not demure like her. But so when I came out, I didn't have a tallywhacker, and the doctor said, well, I think it's a Kezia. So, yeah. And the name Kezia actually is short for Keziah, which is actually in the Bible in the book of Job. So if you look at the last chapter of Job, ironically, well, Keziah in the Bible, she's the middle daughter of Job's second family after all the shit happened to him. So I thought that's kind of funny because I'm the middle daughter of two brothers, and I don't know. So I was definitely meant to be a Kezia, I guess.
Wow, that's a good story. Now, on a sad note, you lost your mother.
I did.
And it sounds like you must have lost her young.
Actually, no, I was very fortunate. I had my mom up until I was 50. And luckily, you know, sometimes in life, you have this voice or this thought that comes to you, and sometimes those messages you really need to listen to. I one day woke up and I thought, where am I going to spend my 50th birthday? Now I'm telling everyone how old I am. Oh my God. So
you look 20.
Thank you. Well, this is a while ago, but thank you. It's my skincare. But anyhow, so I thought, you know what? I've got to spend my 50th birthday with my mom. Something told me to do that. So I dropped all of my non-existent plans that I was planning in my head, and I just went home. You know, I thought I was going to have be rich by 50 and have like a huge shindig with catered party and champagne. Well, that was not going to happen because that's not where my life ended up. So I went home, and luckily I spent my birthday with my mom, because 2 weeks later I got a call from my dad, and he said, are you sitting down? I said, no. And I knew he was going to say what he was going to say. And he said, your mother died. But the crazy thing is, I sort of knew beforehand that it happened because my mom was a bird woman. And I was out writing in my journal around 10 o'clock Pacific time, which is about the time when she passed away on the East Coast. And there was a hummingbird that flew right by, like literally right by my face. It almost hit my face. And then it flew up, and it made like a half a circle, like a smile. And it kept going back and down and up and back and down and up. It did it 3 times. And then it hovered, and it really looked at me. And then it flew off into the sky super high, not like any other hummingbird I've ever seen in my entire life. And I just went, oh my God, somebody died. And then a few hours later, because like my dad had to deal with stuff, so it wasn't like he called me right away. And then when he did call me, I was like, that was my mom saying goodbye. So every day I miss my mom, every minute of every day, and I always will. Sorry, my ring light tends to overheat. And yeah,
so, my dress.
Oh, so that's the story of my mom. And you know, I do my comedy. She was the one that told me go for my dreams. She was the one person in my family that really believed in me. And she's the one that really thought I was pretty funny. So that was Sandy. That was helpful. So she, I do my passions, and, this shutdown has given me time, which I feel like it's, I know a lot of people are suffering. I know that. And, my job before this is non-existent. So I get it. Like, but at the same time, this time has allowed me to, work on my passions, and my mom is the driving force to keep going with during this time, and with why I believe I was put on the earth. Like I do feel that I was supposed to make people laugh and feel better about themselves. I know that in my heart. I knew it since I was 4 years old.
Wow. So my parents, speaking of tear jerkers, if we can be real,
Yeah.
my parents had to pay $1 to get off the boat at Ellis Island, and they didn't have $1. They had to borrow it from some stranger, and they survived the Holocaust.
Wow.
And so my childhood was about my parents not being in the moment available. So whether they wanted all of us children, some of us children, no children, there's talk that my father wanted to trap my mother and keep her, he was insecure, whatever, but I was the second girl, and I was being told over and over that my mom wanted a boy and a girl. And so I made that mean that I wasn't wanted by my mom. So I gave my mom a lot of hell, and found out long after that wasn't the case, but you don't find those things, you get so programmed.
I know, it's true. It really is true how even just like one sentence that somebody in your family tells you can really play tricks in your mind and really affect you later on in life. Like I used to look like a boy when I was little because my hair would fall out. My mom literally had to give me she had the hairstylist give me a pixie cut, and people literally would say to me, "Are you a boy or a girl?" And my younger brother had the big, long, curly hair. And they would say to him, "Are you the girl?" They would always say, "You're the girl, and that's the boy." And it really messed with my head. And then my Uncle Al, which he loves me, but he would call me Kezia boy. So I always kind of had this strange feeling about being a girl, kind of, like I just, yeah. And just hearing like one sentence from someone can really mess you up. Yep. And then what you find out, like, yeah, my uncle's just saying that because he loves me. And I did look like a boy when I was a kid, but as an adult, I don't, but it's, I think why we really need therapists in this life. Like they're available. And if you can't afford them, just go to YouTube, seriously.
Totally. Have you ever been to a doctor and you felt sick, and somebody in the office or the lobby is so special and greets you in such a way that you're like, I feel better. I think I'll go home now. I mean, the power we have to help heal each other is off the chart.
Yeah. You're talking about a lot that I've been researching and studying for years. Just the placebo effect. If you've ever heard of Dr. Joe Dispenza, he talks about this. He's amazing. He's all over YouTube, and you can just Google him. But the placebo effect, they've proven that doctors say if they're like, "Hey, Linda, you have this and this, we're going to give you this pill. It's really going to help you out." It could be a placebo, but because the doctors say it's going to help you, you have, I don't know what the percentage is, but it's definitely a higher rate of a chance of recovery than a doctor that says to somebody, "Oh, Linda, you know what? I don't know if this is going to work, but take it anyway. Let me know how you feel." It's not going to work because you don't have the doctor's approval and even just good word and support. And I think our world right now really needs kinder people that support each other. And you hear it time and time again, love conquers all. Well, let's let love conquer all and support each other. Because my God.
If there was ever a time where we should wake up, and I'm not talking about being woke, I'm just like, what matters now? Do you not get the point?
I know. And what matters is having an earth that's healthy, that is sustaining itself and not us destroying it, and having people that care about each other and care about the animals, because without our planet and without animals and without clean water and without clean air, we won't exist. So when I see people polluting, this is my thing. You've touched on my thing.
Go ahead.
When I see people throwing their McDonald's trash out of the cars and stuff, like literally, I think those people, I have a pretty extreme view on things. Like, that's not acceptable. No. Stop. Our earth cannot take what we are doing to it. And it doesn't take science to prove it. No. Okay, it hasn't rained in California in like decades. You know, Colorado's burning up, we're burning up, Seattle's burning up. There's no snow on Mount Kilimanjaro. Like, hello.
Yep, that's right. So you guys that are listening and gals, listen to her. She knows what she's talking about.
I get pretty worked up. My Russian grandmother was an agrarian person and very well educated, went to Radcliffe when she was 16. And English was not her first language. And she was an English professor and just an amazingly intelligent woman. And they lived off the land. So she used to call us city kids because we came from Buffalo, and it was kind of like a negative thing, like, you know, that we're from the city, but we learned so much from her, just how to appreciate everything, how the earth works, how if you plant asparagus 5 years later in the 5th year, it will grow and come out, because at 9 in the morning it's this big, and then by 5 o'clock you got to snip it. Like these magical miracles that the earth provides for us. My grandmother shared that with us all the time, and the memories that I have. And I look at kids nowadays that have never even seen a farm or gone out to the country, or, you know, it just breaks my heart, because I think we really need to get reconnected to nature. I know we do. And the earth is screaming out for us to do that.
Yes, absolutely. You go, girl. Tell it.
So that's why I'm a comic and not an environmentalist. Like, it makes no sense, but whatever.
I get it. So when you're doing comedy and you meet people, fans, people at the club, friends, comics, who do they say you remind them of in looks, and who do they say your comedy reminds them of? This is one of those thinkers.
You know, it's kind of funny. I've gotten a few times, I'm like, and I almost shudder to say this name, but Roseanne Barr interior and a Sharon Stone exterior.
Love that.
What?
I love that.
Thank you. Yeah. So I don't mind that. I mean, you know, Roseanne Barr back in the day, you know, she is a very funny lady. I don't agree with what's been going on. Definitely not. And I'm not into who she is now, but I saw her do a set. She was completely wasted. She did a set right after 9/11, and it was really quite after 9. However, this is how amazing she was. It actually worked. And it killed. And she was drunk. And I was like, wow, to be able to do that when you're totally wasted and do it right after 9/11 and make it work, I thought that was pretty commendable, you know, at the time. But anyway, yeah, so that's pretty much kind of what I've gotten.
The Sharon,
I don't know, do I remind you of someone else? Like,
I couldn't put my finger on it, but totally get the whole Roseanne, when Roseanne was beautiful. You know,
Well,
I mean,
well, not that part, the interior kind of loud. I have this kind of voice, it's a damaged voice in voiceover world. And then like a Sharon Stone exterior. I'm like, I'll take that.
yes.
Yeah. So,
Now, I knew Sharon Stone before she had her brain injury.
mm,
I didn't know her personally, but I was a fan of hers.
yeah.
And then I saw how she was after. And I think she gets a bad rap for being ditzy. And I think it's her trying to just go with the ditziness.
Mm, yeah. I can't even imagine what she's been through. I mean, talk about scary. She's very lucky to be alive.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
I know that, like I had a brain injury and I'm different since. And there's things that are my deficit, and then other things I go overboard to overcompensate.
right.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that happens. So what kind of family did you come from, and when did you first, like, your mom was all for your comedy inside the home, then outside the home, who was behind your comedy early on?
Okay, well, there's 3 people in my life that really they were all women. They were my Nana, my Baba, and my mom. They all believed in me. Outside of my family unit, Lewis Black he was my first comedy coach. And the very first time I ever got on stage, I didn't know how to open up. I just knew from this class I was going to do this really funny true shoe story that happened in New York City, which it's true. It really happened. And it is kind of funny. Like, I should actually bring it out again. But so Lewis was like, just stick to this story. It's your first time doing comedy, blah, blah, blah. So, but I thought I needed an opener. So we all went for a beer before we took the stage, which I thought was hilarious because I was so nervous. I was really young. I was like 21 or 21-ish, maybe 22. And so I actually imitated Lewis. That was the first thing I ever did as a quote unquote stand-up comic, even though I was just a beginner. I was like a little tadpole. And so I imitated him. He was just like, what the are you doing? What did you do? And I was just like, well, I didn't know how to open up. So I just thought I'd imitate you because you're so funny to imitate. I bought a curl because like at that time he had big Jewish curly hair and he was always smoking cigarettes on stage. So it wasn't really hard to imitate him. And that was so fun. So Lewis has always been a really good support system for me, even though he probably doesn't really know it, but no, he knows. I've told him across the years. And,
I am such a fan of Lewis Black.
Oh, he's a genius. He's just, yeah, he's a genius. And every time he goes to perform in Buffalo, like my family, even then I'm in California, they go see him. Oh. Yeah, so it's really cool. It's really cool. He's just an amazing man.
That's really cool to hear.
Yeah. You know what? Actually, there's one person that in my life, back when I was married, we had these neighbors that lived above us, and his name is John Hurst, and he's an amazing cartoonist, like super amazing. He was like accepted to Disney out of like 2,000 applicants. He was one of 10. And then he's long since gone from that. But this is one thing he told me. And he said, Kezia, out of people that I've seen, that I know, I really think you're the one that has it. And I could actually cry because there's been so many times. And there was a time recently where I did walk away from my career. I got so burnt out. I put the hand on the pause button. And now, like we were talking about before this, I'm making up for lost time right now in COVID. And I feel like I'm on a hamster wheel going, I gotta get there, I gotta break through. But John doesn't know, like those words that he told me got me through so many dark days. And I'm talking dark, like very dark. And that those words from him literally, I will always carry that through till the day I die.
Absolutely. I've got a friend in New York. I've got a lot of friends in New York, but Robin Siegel Lake, and she puts on shows at Broadway Comedy Club and has a podcast called Hot Flash that she does with Nancy Levine. And I had a scenario happen that I believe triggered me to move from New York back to Oregon. Now I'm in Vegas. I'm from Oregon. I moved to New York. I got triggered and I wanted to give up comedy and go back home and, you know, just hide. And she would not get off my case till I came back to comedy.
Wow, good for her. That is a good friend. That is a really good friend. And isn't it so much better when you stay authentic to yourself?
Yes. The secret is, you know, getting authentic. Like how much time, like I've been almost 7 years in comedy, and recently I found somebody challenged me 2 years ago to get authentic. So the last 2 years has been about, well, who the hell am I authentically? And then it's like, okay, now that I'm authentic, now I can find my voice and my persona. And I finally got that all together just recently.
That is something that takes a lot of time for many comics. Some comics are blessed. They just are themselves. They know who they are. They don't give a bleep about anybody or anything. And they are just that, right? Then there's others, like I hear you saying it, and I have felt this way. I've always kind of been afraid to be who I really am. And I didn't really know I always knew who I was. I just was afraid to be that way on stage. And then, you know, Lewis is the one I called him right before I had, well, it was during when I had kind of, I don't want to say the word quit, when I paused my career. I called him and I was like, Lewis, I don't know what's going on. I don't know who I am. I feel like I've done comedy for so long and now I've just lost myself. And he goes, congratulations. That's the best thing that could happen to you. Because on the other side of that is you and success. Because that's when you're going to know who you really, really are. And he goes, that's part of the process. So that's another thing that I really held on to. And I'm like, cool. Yay. Okay, now I'm not like out of the ordinary, you know, because I think a lot of us comics, well, we're, you know, we are who we are. We're sensitive, we're broken toys, we're creative individuals, and being creative in this way is so vulnerable. You know, like I'm an actor as well. It's one thing playing a character, and then it's another thing just being you.
That's right.
So there are challenges in both, but let me tell you, you are butt ass naked out on stage.
Yes, you are.
You know, and if you're bombing, it's you bombing. It's not the character. It's not the writer. It's not the director. It's you. You know, or if you're soaring, it's you. You know? And that's the best feeling in life. That feeling to me is better than sex. It's better than chocolate fudge from Buffalo, New York. Like, oh my God.
Let's talk about your acting. Tell me about your acting for a minute here.
Okay, great. Okay, so when I was 4 years old, I always knew I wanted to be an actor. And I won a TV with one raffle ticket with one of my dollars that I made from, I don't know, mowing the lawn or something. I would stay up every night after I'd study and just watch movies until the TV went off. And it went off at midnight. And I got in trouble so many times because I was always tired in school. But I would look out the window just going, I just want to be an actor. I just want to go to Hollywood. I don't care about accounting, blah, blah, blah. Fast forward college. I went to an all women's college, which was great because I came out of the closet saying I want to be an actor. And I auditioned for a play there and I got cast. And then I did the role. I went up on my lines in front of my dad, but then I recovered, which was a huge accomplishment because I have daddy issues. So anyway, then afterwards, my dad said, "Oh, I think we have an actor in the family." He doesn't remember saying that, but he did. And then I went to New York. I did an internship at an ensemble studio theater. I worked with great people like Risa Brayman Garcia, who's an amazing casting director and huge, and Billy Hopkins was there. I worked with actors like Steven Weber, Andrew McCarthy, Mercedes Ruehl. Oh my God, even I had to babysit Macaulay Culkin and his brother. Like I had to watch them because it's just so funny. So I did this internship and the answer I wanted was, is this a childhood dream that I had, or is this really what I want to do for the rest of my life? And the answer was, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. Then at that theater company was when one of the women that was working with me, because I was an intern, she was like, you know, you're kind of funny. Have you ever thought about doing stand-up comedy? And I was like, no. And thank you. And she goes, why don't you take a class with Lewis Black? He teaches here. So that's how I met Lewis Black. And then that's how I, ended up getting into comedy. And they're two passions of mine. Like I love acting just as much as I love comedy. Although I would say I really, I don't know, comedy's definitely taken a little bit of a, it's going a little more forward faster right now. And I am acting, I'm doing self-tape auditions and stuff like that and taking Zoom classes now that we're in COVID. And I love acting. I love it. I love them both so much. Yeah.
What's the favorite thing that you landed as a role that you got to do in acting?
I have to say that there's this one play that we did. Oh my God, this is like way back when. Oh my God. And it was so fun. It was a really fun character. And my hairdo became a character, and her name was Carol. That's the name of the character. And she was such a spaz, and just literally a spaz. And as my character developed, because it was like a 2 or 3 week run, oh wait, there's another one too. But like the hair grew and the hair became kind of a character. That was one of my really fun ones. But a dramatic role that changed my life forever was Angel in the Snow. It was a monologue written by Jose Rivera, who wrote Motorcycle Diaries. I met him at Ensemble Studio Theater as well. I had worked as an backstage person for his play, and then he handed me a monologue, and it was a really challenging monologue. And I looked at it and I went, wow, for me to be able to do this monologue, there was one thing I knew. I needed to take major acting classes to tackle this monologue. So I did. I studied, and I think it was maybe 2 or 3 years later, I originated the role of Diana in Angel of Snow. That was his play. And it got extended with another bunch of scenes. And then after that, the character just lived inside of me. And I called Jose and I said, Jose, you got to make this into a movie. And he was like, no, I don't want to make it into a movie. And he goes, sounds like somebody's got to write a movie, not thinking that I would actually write it. So I called him 3 years later and I said, hi, Jose, it's Kezia Norton. He goes, Jose is not a big cursor. He goes, no effing way, no effing way, no effing way. You did not write it. And I go, yeah, I wrote it. And he goes, oh my God, well, now we have a problem because I'm alive. It's not like you wrote a screenplay based on a dead, writer. And he goes, I have to read it. And I just pray that I like it. And thank God he liked it, because he told my mom, he said, Mrs. Norton, if I didn't like screenplay, we would not be friends. Like, we wouldn't be here tonight. And I was like, and my mom goes, oh, I totally get it. Yeah, I understand. And so I'm really trying to get that produced. I'm just putting that out there to you. It's based on Jose's original monologue, and I would just love the right producer to come. Yeah, I've been kind of getting things together to start taking it out there to get it produced, and it would be produced in memory of my mom, because my mom always said, Kezia, that screenplay that you, and Jose, by the way, helped me on the rewrites. He is genius. Oh my God, he just blew my mind. She said, I see it on the big screen. So I'm really, really praying that the right producer comes for that and
So
direct.
this has been written for a movie, not for Broadway.
Definitely not Broadway. It's a movie. Yeah. And Jose has given me his blessing, and I've had it for a while, but it's been in my, it's just been sitting here for a long time, and it's time to make things happen. The hand is off the pause button.
Wonderful. So do you know some producers, and have you run it by some, or I've interviewed some better producers?
Yeah. What's that?
I've interviewed comedians who are also producers.
Right. Great. I have. It was actually optioned once, and then the money fell through. And then at that time, I actually kind of gave up. And if I have one regret in my life, it is this. Jose offered a director to me at the time. And because I went to an all-women's college, I really had it in my head that it had to be a female director, because I just was so passionate. And I am still passionate about that. But at this point, I'm like, I just want to get it done. I want it to be up there. I wanted my mom to be able to see it, and that obviously isn't possible. She'll have to view it from heaven. But I was really stubborn at that. And, I don't know, maybe I'm holding out for the right female director. I don't know. But that's like the one regret. I wished I had, and I've told Jose that. I was like, I wish I wasn't as strong-headed, and I wish I had taken you up on that director.
So tell me the premise behind it, so that if any producers come on here to watch.
Yeah, it's a brother and sister coming to adulthood in rural West Virginia, in the mining towns. And basically it's what's wrong feels right, what's right is wrong.
Got it.
And yeah, so it's an independent film, and it's very different, but it's, Sex, Lies, and Videotapes, or Insects and Lies, or Lies and Insects. It's been a long time since I've said that movie. Those movies where they touch on taboos, but they kind of make the taboos sort of understandable. It's a little bit like that. There are 2 taboos in the movie, so it's got to be balanced really well. It's definitely a great actor piece. All the characters in it are really rich in texture and layers, and the right director will just have it's like sink your teeth into this kind of thing.
So Robin Siegel-Lakin in New York, I mentioned her earlier.
Yeah, I wrote her down.
Well, she just starred in Postal, which is an independent short, and it's getting tons of awards.
Oh,
you
great.
might run it by her.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, she plays the part of a lady with, I think, severe PTSD going postal all the time or something. I don't know if it's PTSD, whatever it is. very serious role, kind of similar to, I can't remember the name of the actress that is beautiful, but dressed up ugly to be crazy. Katherine Heigl or one of them like her. Can't think of the name. It's not Katherine Heigl, but very similar in her acting ability at that level and stardom. So it's a role like that for an independent.
Nice.
So I'd love you to connect with Robin and tell her I told you to.
I definitely will. I'm writing all this down. Thank you.
So have you figured out the cast for it?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Have you figured out who plays all the parts?
Well, I did at the time, had basically everybody, and now I've got to relook at it and assess some, because the two roles are definitely young actors. That I have been watching movies and different TV shows and stuff and writing some names down. I haven't really come up with a today kind of cast. Yeah.
Wonderful. Good for you. Great job.
Thank
I
you.
will, when we're done with the interview, I've still got a few questions and a wrap-up question, but when I get done with the interview, I put my afterthoughts and I call it Confessions of a Zoom TV Reporter. And you'll see it, all my thoughts about how amazing you are. And I'll put in there that you're looking for a producer for your independent.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Oh my goodness.
Absolutely. Because, I've got a Broadway producer that listens to this stuff. And I mean, I've interviewed bookers, agents, producers, so they're on here checking this stuff out. So
that's great. And I will go back and listen to some of your interviews because I'm just so grateful that you reached out to me today. That was just like, oh my goodness. Yeah, let's go for it.
I just knew, I can tell, when I look at a still picture of somebody, I can tell if they have depth of quality, like layers of quality that I'd want to draw out in an interview or have them feel comfortable enough to share. That's all it is.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoy interviewing.
I can tell. You're a great interviewer, so thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks for coming on. I have a couple last questions.
Sure.
As a female, I'm going to go into the female in comedy thing now.
Okay.
So in female of comedy scenario, what's the best and the worst that you've encountered without hurting your career by saying it?
Okay, I guess I'll start with the worst. When I came out to LA, it was a rough racket out here. And this is, I moved out here like 19 years ago. And for like 5 years, it was just, I felt like I was going even the shows I was doing, I just felt like my brain was put into a meat grinder, just listening to all the misogynistic hate towards women. And we had to listen to so many rape jokes and just horrible stuff that's part of what beat me up a lot. And then dealing with those personalities real for real on a weekly, daily basis was brutal. Nowadays, it's very different. And, there's a lot of female comics. And what I love about comedy now is there's a lot of female comics that reach out to each other like you did to me today and supportive. And like, there's a woman named Bobby Oliver who has her own room, right? Yay, Bobby. And she wrote a great book called The Tao of Comedy. And I wish that was one of the first books that I read, but it's not. But it's a great book for comedy. And her room is, you're not allowed to say rape jokes. And I think rooms should be that way. And, it's been, ever since comedy has been around, it's always been that way. And now the tides are changing. And I love it because now we have male comics that are really supportive. and they don't want to tell rape jokes either. So I think by setting those parameters, it's actually brought the level of comedy up and made it funnier, because it's forcing, and even women, because there are a lot of women that go really blue in the beginning, or nowadays like dirty in the beginning. Once you get beyond all that stuff, there's a lot of funny. And I think by taking the focus off of that kind of stuff, it elevates the level of comedy. And that to me is great. Yeah. So I think those are the two things that the worst, and then the worst experience I ever had, it was hilarious though. It was at the Improv, and my friends ended up getting so drunk by the end. I was the last one. I was always put up last, either first, I took the bullet, or last. And it was mostly last. And it was this class and whatever. And I literally had my friends in the audience by the time I got up. And I probably was drunk at this point too, because I was so upset, and I was just like, eh. And I just went on and on and on and on. I bombed, and then they turned off the mic. Oh my God, it was hilarious. It was hilarious. And I just was hopeful that my friends didn't remember that experience. You know, but you know what? That was what the best learning experience I ever had. You know, like everyone's got to bomb. You have to bomb.
You have to bomb.
You have
That's
to.
when you learn.
For sure.
Yeah. What's the best thing that you can tell a new comic from your experience?
Don't listen. Just be yourself, have fun, and try to sort out constructive criticism versus destructive criticism. There are a lot of voices that there's a lot of people that think that they are comics and they're not even funny, and they can chop you down. So I would just say, really just listen to the ones that can offer you a sound opinion, and really listen to people that are above, not the people that are below. The people that, the cretins that are below, swipe left and really don't give them any. And I mean that because there's a lot of hurtful, negative, hideous people that want to knock people down, you know? And then, so I try to listen to people that are more successful than me. And I try not to let the people that are like sidelines hurt me. I do listen to them when they're really supportive. And if they do have something like, they're like, oh my God, Kezia, that joke, it's just not hitting because this one word needs to be changed. I'm like, all ears. Tell me, I want it to hit. Yeah. But if it's like, yeah, how many times do I get off stage and they're like, hey, Kezia, you know, this is how you really have to tell this joke. Like, you know, and you're just like, shut the up. Did I ask you? Did I ask you permission? No. You know, there's so many of those people out there. And it's just like, you got to sift through the SHIT. You just, you got to sift through it. And, you know, I wish that I hadn't have been so sensitive when I was younger, because I think I would have gotten a lot further faster, but I was like a turtle with no shell. So.
That's a good analogy.
Thank you.
So let's look at your entire life as we wrap up.
Okay.
So before you go from the earth, what must, like everybody asks, what if your house caught on fire, what one thing would you take? I want to know, what one thing do you want to accomplish on earth that you haven't even attempted yet?
I want to be in a movie. I want to have a really amazing role in a movie.
Love that.
Before I go.
What would be a dream role then for you?
It would, You know, I love drama. It could be anything from drama to a really funny, hysterical character. Cause I can go pretty big and stuff. I don't know. Did you ever see the movie How to Murder Your Wife? Okay. Well, you know the scene where she's dancing on the piano? And she's
No, I don't
been
remember.
oh, okay. Well, I love scenes like that. Like, say if I was a character and I'm like really just straight laced, and then all of a sudden come undone, you know, so you see a huge transformation in the character. Or, you know, I love drama too. So I'm totally open to both,
Love
actually.
it.
So
Do you remember Breakfast at Tiffany's?
yeah,
And the lady in the mirror crying?
yeah,
That cracks
definitely.
me up.
Yeah. So that's my thing, to really be in a movie with a significant role that's memorable, that
Who would you like to be? Like, you're the leading lady. Who do you want to play against?
I
And
would
why?
love to play. What?
And why?
I would love to play against, well, there's a few. Judi Dench or Meryl Streep.
Wow.
Yeah. And then men, I always wanted to do a movie with Jason Robards, but obviously he's not here any longer. I would love to do a movie with Robert Downey Jr. You know, like, oh
Yes.
my God. Right?
You could play his wife, right?
Yeah. I could play his wife. I would love to play his wife. And
You're
I'm trustworthy because he's married. So I'm totally perfect to play his wife because I don't do that, you know?
exactly. I would love to interview Robert Downey Jr. and Johnny Depp and Louis Black.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Those three, you know, I've written Louis Black 1,000 times about interviewing him. I went, come on, you'd have a lot of fun. You know, I try every trick in the book. That's how I got Sinbad.
Oh my God, that's great. Well, you know what? I can share this with him.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, I adore you personally. I didn't know you had any connections to like big money in the biz, but I'll tell you what, I adore you.
Oh, thank you.
And
Yeah, these are connections that are, you know, a long time ago, and just, you know, I just hope they continue and all that. And I adore you too. And I'm really grateful you reached out. I haven't talked about this stuff in years, like, except with maybe one or two of my really close friends. But yeah, bringing up the past, going down memory lane. What?
I'm old. I'm 69 years old. And the thing, I come from a whole an era before you probably, but most likely, can't really tell. Anyway, I have this problem. I can't stand getting unsolicited advice. It just drives me nuts. And you mentioned it earlier.
Yeah, it drives me nuts. And there's ways for people to ask you permission, but there's also tones. Like if somebody says, hey, Linda, you know, I really loved your act. Are you okay with me just giving you a suggestion or two? That's very different than saying, Linda, why didn't you say it like this? Like, this is how you got to say it. And sometimes people need to keep their mouth shut and just say, congratulations.
Thank you.
You know, and just accept you for where you are, what you're doing, because what we're doing takes guts. And sometimes people need to just keep their mouths closed.
Yes.
I mean, I've had to learn that lesson.
Yeah. Well, I agree with you on everything you said. There's nothing you've said that I'm like, oh God, I can't believe I have to fake it like I understand or care. You're just so relatable to me. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Linda. I love you, and I'm so grateful to meet you. And I promise I will share this, and I look forward to keeping our connection connected.
Yes, me too.
Great.
So, remind me of the name of the movie you wrote. Do you call it a screenplay for a movie?
Yeah, it's a screenplay and it's called Angel in the Snow right now, but there's a long story. I might have to change the title.
Got it.
So,
I want to put that out there on the post, if that's okay with you, along with your other links.
yeah, that would be great. I so appreciate that, Linda. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Girl power.
That's right. Unite, activate, form up, ovaries.
See you later. Love you lots.
Okay, love you too. Take care. Thanks for having me.
Likewise. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for coming on.